Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next The Reckoning of Roku chapter analysis video. This one's going to be for chapter 44, which is called Beyond Repair. Once again, YouTube channel membership is enabled on the channel if you want to help support, and subscribing also helps. So we're back with Malaya here. It's another quick-ish chapter, but it's a very important one because it's very much we are setting up the final sequence at this point very, very directly here with this one. And the idea here is we've dealt with the threat of the earthbenders, and now we have to go about, okay, who's going into the caves to save Roku, who's staying behind. That's effectively what's going on here. And so we basically just address a lot of those situations as we start, and we end with who actually goes in and what has, you know, the destiny of many characters set in place by the decisions kind of made here to a certain degree. So, Gyatso's still not talking to Malaya after the incident from the previous chapter, of course. But Sozin, as they arrive at the caves, they haven't gone in yet, but, you know, they're going to make their decision here. He makes a joke, probably one of the few, I would say, Avatar references that's a bit like, I don't know if you need this one. So is this, what do you call it, your secret tunnel? Okay, fine, but not my favorite reference, I think, in the book overall. Malaya can sense that underneath everything, Sozin has a genuine concern for Roku, but also that there is a massive interest in the power source on this island, in the cave. And she doesn't know which is more important to him. Is it saving Roku, or is it finding out what he can about the power source on the island? And yeah, she confirms that, yeah, this will lead down into the sacred cave. It's a maze down there. I will show you the way. She has to go in there. No one else is going to get there in time. So Malaya, just with her knowledge of the island, has to go. And this is where she points out the idea that, like, leading Sozin into the secret cave is pretty much the last thing that she should do. But at the same time, what else can they do? She and Gyatso are probably not going to win the fight against these three characters here, Kozaru, Sozin, and Dalasai. So that's not great, especially because they've been through a lot. Like, all of these characters have had quite the journey, but Gyatso and Malaya have had like a little bit more action today overall. So you can tell which way the fight will go if that's the way it was actually meant to happen. And either way, she feels, okay, Roku's dealing with Ulo. I think Roku's going to need some help, so I think the best course of action probably is just to take Sozin down there and kind of see what happens. But we'll see what she actually plans to do at the end of this chapter. So Sozin's like, okay, cool, okay, I'm going to get to go. But then he's like, no, just me and the girl. As in, he doesn't want Gyatso to come with them for sure, but then he also doesn't want Kozaru and Dalasai to come with him as well. And this is where we get this idea of, like, he doesn't trust anyone else except Roku. Roku is the only person that he trusts in any way, and this is why he gives off a very bad impression to pretty much everyone else. And so Gyatso comes up and is like, hey, if she goes, I go. And he's like, no, why not? Because I don't trust you. So the idea here is, why doesn't Sozin trust an air nomad? And Sozin says, exactly because of that. As my father always says, never trust anyone who won't eat meat. And Kozaru asks, you know, that's really a thing he says? It is. Wise words from a wise Fire Lord. And she starts eating some Komodo rhino jerky to go along with this advice. And Gyatso fires back. If there's anyone who shouldn't be trusted, it's you. I don't understand how Roku could be friends with someone like you. And this is obviously because Sozin is different around Roku than, like, anyone else. And he, for whatever reason, just can't open himself up to be true friends with anyone else, even though he probably could do it if he just gave it a chance. And that's just the way he is. Overall, if, like, I guess he reached a certain age and just it shut off in terms of, like, him being able to form friendships with people, basically. And so there's basically a fight between Gyatso and Sozin about to happen here, but Malaya steps in between them and is like, it's okay, I'll do this. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? It's fine. Trust me like you trusted Roku. Gyatso nods, and then he hugs Malaya. And this is a big, big moment because they finally talk after, you know, the incident, of course. And it says here, her heart filled. It was the first time anyone had ever held her like that. And this is a really nice callback, of course, to a couple of chapters ago where she saw the hug between Gyatso and Roku, where they kind of reunited and kind of like apologized, made up. And this is her getting that kind of same experience of like, yeah, she's never been properly hugged like that in her life. And it's a really significant thing to her that one of the previous chapters ended with the idea of this is where she feels like she truly belongs, like helping Gyatso, helping Roku, kind of in a way being an avatar companion, and that her destiny probably is off the island as well. And that's what kind of we go to next. It's be careful, I will. And Gyatso, yes. Do you think some people are born broken? And he says, no. There are things in this world that can break us, but I've learned there's always a way to heal. And Malaya is crying at this point, and she says, maybe after all of this is over, I can go back to the Southern Air Temple with you. I'd like that. And so there is the little makeup, if it was even needed, between these two. The idea of Malaya thinks that she might be broken and like destined to be just the kind of murderous like native from the island, but his answer is basically that there's always a way to kind of heal past these things. And again, she finally works up the courage to kind of ask, can I go back with you when it's all over? And he says yes. And the idea is that this is actually going to be really good for Malaya. I think her being away from the island where like she doesn't have the family connection really, it's her home, but you can tell there's an interest in the outside world, and she has formed like a true friendship with Gyatso and potentially with Roku as well. So this is, I think, the right path for her. At this point, there's a giant boom off in the distance, and it's obviously everyone realizes, like, if that's not an eruption, like, what is it? It's Roku. So it's the idea that Roku has finally started doing offensive firebending enhanced, and it's giving this effect that like explosions are going off. So they have to go quickly through the caves here. So Sozin grabs Malaya, kind of tugs her away from Gyatso. So they don't quite get to say their goodbye properly, but they more or less got it. And yeah, he quickly lets her take the lead because she knows the way through the caves. And then we get Malaya's approach to like, okay, here's how she's going to handle this. Her and Sozin alone going through the caves to get to Roku. Knowing that, okay, getting him to Roku will help Roku, but also cause an issue for the island. What does she do? How does she handle this? What's she planning? It says here, maybe she wasn't beyond repair, but Sozin was exactly like Ulo. He wouldn't let Gyatso or her live, and he certainly wasn't going to go back and help her people. He wouldn't want to leave any witnesses who might spread word of his unauthorized activities. People like him never changed and should never lead, be it a clan or a nation. She was going to make this tunnel his tomb or die trying. And so there we go. The stakes now raised. She knows going into this cave that Sozin is probably going to try to kill her at some point, because he can't really let these people get out of here, or they might reveal what he was up to, that sort of thing. And she knows also that she probably needs to try and get rid of him. Now, it's a very interesting turn of things for Malaya, where we've just kind of addressed over the last couple of chapters the idea of, well, it's probably not the best thing for her to like kill one of the earthbenders, enraged in the middle of battle, fueled by anger, but that she just, for whatever reason, calm of mind, gets the sense that she needs to get rid of Sozin, and that she views him in the same way as Ulo. And again, Malaya is a character who is basically like, if you were to kill Ulo, I don't think it would be as devastating to the clan as you think it would be, because I think a lot of people do see through his lies, and he has such control. I think people would appreciate not being under that control anymore. And she's getting that sense here completely with Sozin. The only thing I would maybe say is that I maybe wish Sozin was around them a little bit more to almost like justify this a little bit more. We as the audience, I think, get it, but just on the basis of the scenes that like Sozin has had with the other characters, potentially not so much. But they have definitely, I think, presented the idea of this type of person coming to an island like this and the danger that he poses, as in like, this is exactly the sort of person that Ulo does what he does to stop. And now the idea is that it's just as dangerous that this person is here in the first place. So for the sake of her clan and their future, she feels she has to end him at all costs. And so the question is, sort of going into the next chapter, what's going to happen here? Because like, obviously we go in knowing Sozin survives this. We don't know about Malaya. But is there a way that everyone gets out of this, or what? What's she going to try to do to kill him? Because again, remember the plot point, she's given away her knife to Dalasai. So she's going in here unarmed, basically, against a firebender who's going to become enhanced the second they get in there. That's not a good position to be in. So it's Malaya against the odds, it feels like here, and that's pretty dangerous overall. But it's certainly a really strong setup for the next chapter that follows up on this. But in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on this one. I think especially just the idea of the sheer potential. I think how well done the Gatso Malaya relationship is. The idea of Malaya living with the air nomads, what would that be like? That's such an interesting point. But then the big thing obviously is Malaya realizing it's kind of do or die in this one-on-one journey through the cave system with Sozin. What are your thoughts on that? But that is the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.